everybody here knows that what happens in the future doesn't depend on what goes on in those negotiating halls in Paris. It depends on the movement. And December should be, is that better? December should be a huge boost to the climate movement. But we all know what happened after Copenhagen. And we have to look at that to make sure it doesn't happen again. After Copenhagen, we faced a huge backlash. And one of the key things that accomplished the backlash that devastated the movement, the climate movement after Copenhagen, was the economic assault that we've all been under. That has meant that many people can't afford to put food on the table and can't afford to heat their homes. And many people have prioritized that. But another key factor has been the way this crisis has been used. The economic crisis has been used, the economic crisis of their making, has been used to actually discredit the climate movement. Because the government is making out that actually they're concerned about people in fuel poverty, and we're not. That dirtier fuels, like fracking, those are cheaper. That's the way to support people in fuel poverty. And that clean fuels, like renewables, are actually costing more money. And they've got us in this so-called contradiction between economic survival and going green. There's so many renewable projects in this country. They've been cut to smithereens by the government. And the basis for it, the justification for it, is this lie that we have to choose between dying from climate change and dying from not being able to feed our kids and afford to heat our homes. Now that's where Fuel Poverty Action comes in. It was started by people from Climate Camp who wanted to do something about the immediate economic crisis that people were facing. We wanted to counter that lie that people have to choose, while hundreds of thousands are already dying from climate change, and tens of thousands are dying from fuel poverty in this country. Because it's not only grotesque, it's a lie. It's not green measures that are putting up the bills. It's profiteering energy corporations and the lack of insulation in UK homes. It's not renewable energy that's heavily subsidized. It's fossil fuels and nukes. And the government have guaranteed to double the cost of electricity in order to make sure that Hinkley C makes a profit and make sure that Britain can hold their head up as a member of the military nuclear club. The move to renewables is so massive worldwide that prices are tumbling, and we should be seeing them taking over everywhere, just like mobile phones took over from landlines. But instead, we're seeing this huge backlash being perpetrated in the name of people in poverty. Now, Fuel Poverty Action has been a big fly in their ointment because our focus is on poverty. Our daily work is defending people who are being cut off or switched onto prepayment meters where you have to cut yourself off and where you pay more than your neighbors who are on standing orders who can afford more. Our daily work is promoting our Energy Bill of Rights, which says that energy has to be affordable, and it also has to be sustainable, and it also has to be fair, and it also has to be under democratic control. Our daily work is training people in the rights that we already have to stand up to the big six companies. Our daily work is instigating things like warm-ups, which are based on the principle that if you can't afford to heat your own home, you have a right to go into any warm building and make yourself at home there. And there have been warm-ups organized by pensioners, asylum seekers, people with disabilities. Occupy London occupied a bank. And because of that work, we can be effective when we fight the lie. And that's why Naomi Klein said of Fuel Poverty Action that Fuel Poverty Action in the UK was one of the best groups anywhere in the world, bridging the divide between climate and bread and butter issues. Now we're helping a new coalition set up in London to take energy back into public hands where profit's not the motive and it can be democratically owned and controlled. And John MacDonald, who helped launch our Energy Bill of Rights in the House of Commons and said it was fundamentally important, he and Jeremy Corbyn are now talking about public energy that is not renationalizing like the old nationalization, but is actually something much more democratic. And there is the possibility in London where we have massive geothermal energy and loads of buildings are being put over to district heating. It could be not a new PFI, which is what's going on now. It could be democratic energy in the hands of the consumers. And that could provide heating that is affordable and warm and democratic and saves tons of emissions at the same time. Now I want to share one problem with you. Fuel Poverty Action has so much to do, but we are desperately short of people. We need 1 or 2 committed members. That would make all the difference at this point. If we don't get that, I don't know if we'll make it. So in the breakout groups, I hope you'll join me to see how you might be able to help. Just to mention one thing that's coming up in November. In November, they released the statistics of how many people died of fuel poverty in the year before. At the end of November, we've always marked that day. Now, I don't know what's going to happen this year because of that shortage of capacity in Fuel Poverty Action and because it coincides so closely with the big climate march. But we hope that people here will help to make sure that it's part of the message of the climate march, because it's absolutely vital that the climate movement shows that it cares and it's serious about whether people can afford to pay their bills.